So good afternoon. We're going to begin. This is week 5 of our 8-week series at the Albury Wodonga Regional Cancer Centre. And today, because we're still having to have this class telecast and we're unable to be live, I would like you to get another prop. So I keep thinking of things we can do that you have at home. So today's prop is a face washer. And so you grab a face washer and you just roll your face washer. Most of them are generally square, but if it's not quite square, take the long edge and roll your face washer into a sausage or a scroll. And just place that to the side of your mat, and you'll use that towards the end of our warm-up. And then today we're going to start our class in lying. So get comfortable down lying on your back. Just checking that the sound is correct at home. Great. And you might like to have something underneath your knees. So if you've got a cushion, place it underneath your knees, just to take the pressure off your lower back. Or remember, you could have your legs up on the chair. And then make your way into a comfortable lying position. One thing to always remember when you lay down is that if you feel that your head is tipped back and your chin pokes up to the ceiling and there's tension in the back of your neck, you might need to take a thin towel or a cushion and just place it underneath your head. Hi, Suze. Welcome. And we're going to begin again today with bringing your awareness to gentle diaphragmatic breath. So you feel free to keep your hands down beside you, or you might like to bring your hands onto your abdomen where your diaphragm is. So find your lower ribs and just have a sense of how that diaphragm is like a double dome muscle. At the front, it attaches up into itself, where the ribs sort of join onto your breastbone. And then if you take your awareness and imagine you're painting a gold band around your skin, it goes all the way around to the back of the ribs. And it has 2 little feet that attach into your lumbar vertebrae. And then if you're comfortable, close your eyes, or you might even like your face washer across your eyes. And start to breathe gently with the diaphragm. So let your belly be really relaxed. Focus your breath where your hands are. And have a sense of the diaphragm contracting and moving down to your pelvic floor, to the sides and the back of the body. Notice the natural pause at the top. And then let everything relax. Just let the diaphragm relax, let the belly soften, and watch the body breathe out. And continue now in your own rate and rhythm, following the natural ebb and flow of your breath. See if you can notice the natural pause at the top of the breath and the natural pause at the end of the breath. And see if you can gently lengthen the breath now without any strain. Just make the breath a little longer. Still pausing, noticing the natural pause at the top of the in-breath, following the breath to the natural pause at the end of your exhale. Take 3 more breaths in this manner. Breathing gently and keeping all of your focus on your breath. And when you finish the next exhale, let go of all breath control and allow your body to breathe however it needs. And notice, do you continue with this gentle breath in your belly? Or do you need to take a deeper breath? And there's no right or wrong here. Rather, you're just noticing what happens when you stop controlling the breath. And if you would like to dedicate this practice or to set an intention for your practice, bring your hands to your heart space. Atha Yoga Nushasanam. This is the first Yoga Sutra, which means it is with great respect and infinite love for ourselves and all beings that we now come to this practice. Om Shanti, 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 which means peace, peace, peace. And so when you're ready, you're going to bend up your knees and plant your feet and come and lie with your knees bent and your feet planted. So remember, you want them hip width apart and parallel. And if you're not sure whether that is for you, a great way to find that is to just bring the knees into your chest and hug them in. While you're there, just have a feel what's your back like today. You might rock a little from side to side. And then come back to the knees in the midline and just let your feet drop down. And usually you'll land pretty close to hip width apart and parallel. And today we're going to, in our warm-up, have a little focus on releasing your mid-back, and which really helps your neck and shoulders. And so the first thing I'd like us to do is just notice, how does that actually part of your body feel today? So notice the weight on the back of your shoulder blades. Notice the weight on the back of the ribs. And see if you can sense if there is more weight on one side than the other. And then put your hands onto the front of your ribs, come up high-ish. So start where your diaphragm is and just slide your hands up a little higher. And see if you can feel whether one side of your rib cage is higher than the other. So your ribs are a barrel around your spine. And so if the rib cage is rotated slightly, you will feel more weight on one side of your back, shoulder blade and ribs. And you might feel that at the front, the opposite side is sitting a little higher. Or you might be really even. Just see what you're noticing, what you can notice. And then also notice the weight on those shoulder blades and whether the shoulders are actually in contact with the floor. And then notice the weight on the back of the pelvis, whether it's even left and right. And notice the weight on your feet. And then take your hands up towards the ceiling with your palms together. And now interlace all the fingers except the index and the thumb. So this is called temple mudra in yoga, or it's a bit like a steeple, creating a steeple. And just have your hands a little lower than your shoulders so that your neck and shoulders are relaxed. And imagine now that there's a band wrapping around your elbows that keeps your elbows straight. Now let's go together today. There are a few new things to show you. So come with me and roll your ribs like a barrel to the left without bending that left elbow. And then come back to center. So rather than leading with your arms to the right, think about your ribs rolling like a barrel of whatever liquid you like to drink. And watch how your brain will want to bend that right elbow and see if you can keep it straight. Come back to the middle and now just roll from side to side. And just notice, how does your upper back feel? Can you do this movement and keep your pelvis and feet fairly still? Or do they want to follow? And then the next time you come back to the middle from the right, pause. We'll come back to that in a fair bit, but that was just to see what it feels like in your upper back today. And then bring your arms down beside you. Now, if you've got something underneath your head, take it out now and just place it to the side, because we're going to come into a bridge pose. So take a breath in and let your back arch. Feel the back muscles contract. Then let your back melt. Tuck your pelvis and start to lift your hips up. And if you can, you go all the way up until the weight's on the back of your shoulders. No pressure in your neck though. And then slowly roll down. And the whole time, you want your knees to stay where they are, tracking over your middle two toes. And what can help you to keep your knees in the right or that safe position is to actually remember those 4 car ties on your feet. So arch your back, release your back, pick up the pelvis. Imagine those 4 car ties on your feet, base of big toe, base of little toe, inner and outer blade of your heels. This time you get to the top. If you wanted to go deeper and open up through your mid-back more, you take your arms over your head. And then as you roll down, the next variation will be to slide your arms down as you roll down. It's like you're creating a snow angel as you bring your pelvis back to the floor. Palms come down beside you. Breath in, arching the back a little. Pelvis rolls to your feet. Breath out, let the back flatten. And then just keep breathing now as you need, as you lift your pelvis up. Feel your tail lengthen towards the back of your knees. Remember, you can stay here, so level 1. If there's enough resistance, you don't need to go any deeper. You roll down from there. Next level, you take your arms above your head. And the next level is as you roll down, if it feels comfortable in your shoulders, you keep your arms where they are. So option 2, snow angel, or keep the arms where they are. And let's do that one more time. Inhaling, let your back arch. Then release your back, lift the pelvis up, keep those 4 car ties pressing evenly into the floor, arms stay down beside or come above, hands stay where they are as you roll down or you snow angel. And then when your pelvis comes to the floor this time, bring your knees into your chest and gently rock your knees towards your armpits. Nice to see you, Vicky. And then let's use our lower abdominals to release the back as well. So cross your feet and have your knees together and keeping your neck and shoulders really relaxed. So again, if you feel like your neck is tense, you could put the little towel underneath your head and use your lower abdominals. Nice. And then cross your feet and cross them the other way. And take your hands behind your head. Take a breath in, let your back arch just a little. Feet might move away. As you breathe out, release your back, tuck your elbows, and sit on up. It's not going to be a big movement. Knees might come a little closer to your elbows. See if you can keep those elbows in. It's like you've created a basket around your neck, so that now you're lengthening your tummy muscles to lower your head, to release any tension in the neck. And then when your head touches down, bring your arms down. And then cross your feet back the other way. And we'll do that again. Hands are interlaced. Remember, your elbows can be quite high to begin with. Make sure your shoulders are comfortable. And as you breathe in, you press your shoulders back, maybe take your elbows wide. When you need to breathe out, release your back. Keep your elbows tucked in as close as you can, then sit up using your abdominal muscles rather than your neck muscles. And super slow now, like you're lifting your head off your shoulders, like your head is a grand piano that you're having to lower down by lengthening your tummy muscles. Then bring your arms down beside you. Then release your feet to the ground. And if you're on a mat like me, this mat's quite sticky. I'm going to pick up my hips and move them slightly to the right so I'll be able to slide my right leg along the floor. So you want to be able to slide on whatever surface you've got at home. And again, notice, do you need that towel under your head or do you take it out? Hands behind the head. This is a hip flexor release as well as releasing through the front of the body. Breath in and let your back arch a little and lift the right foot off the floor. As you breathe out, tuck those elbows. You're going to sit on up, bringing your knee really close or as close as your back allows to your elbows. Now keep your legs still in slow motion. Release your head like it's a grand piano or a potty calf. or a grandchild or a sleeping baby. And when your head touches down, bring your arms out so you can relax your neck and shoulders. Now touch your heel close to the pelvis on the ground and slide that leg towards long and let your back fully relax. And then frog leg your leg up and pick up the leg in that position. So it's in that frog-legged position. Then you interlace your hands behind your head. So your thighs rolled out to the side. Breath in, let your back arch just a little. Breathe out, tuck your elbows. Keep breathing now, sink the ribs. Sit on up and the elbows are pointing towards your inner ankle bone or the sole of your foot. And then super, super slow. Feel like you're lifting your head off your shoulders. Let your head touch down. Let your arms come out. Now you touch your foot down in the same angle, the same shape. So I'm on the outer ankle and I slide, or the frog leg, and then I slide that leg towards long and let it relax. And when it relaxes, it might roll in or it might roll out. Then frog leg the leg up again. This time keep the foot on the floor so that you can roll to the inner blade of your foot, your right foot. So your knee comes and will rest onto your left leg. So you've rolled your thigh in now. Then take your hands and interlace them behind your head. So breath in, let your back arch. Breath out, let your back go. Tuck your elbows, sit on up and just lift the foot off the floor. It doesn't need to be very high. And it's almost like now you're looking towards your right ankle, your outer ankle. So just make sure your knee's really happy. So this is about rolling your leg from your pelvis. So if your knee's not happy, just bring the knee a little more towards the ceiling. And then super slow release the upper body. Let your head touch down, let your arms come out. Touch your foot down with your leg in the same shape. So you're on the inner blade of this foot and glide your leg long. And just let everything switch off. And if you're comfortable with your legs straight, square yourself up onto your mat if you're using one, and let both legs be long. And just let your legs flop to the side and notice how the right leg feels. Also notice how the right shoulder blade is in contact with the floor and whether that's different on the left. And then you'll bend up your knees. Feel free to bring your knees all the way back into your chest. I'll just flip myself around so you can see. And you want to move yourself across if you've got a mat so that now you'll be able to slide your left leg. And take your hands and interlace them behind your head, lifting that left foot off the floor. Take a breath in and let your back arch a little, pressing your shoulders back. So remember your elbows can be quite high, particularly if there's tightness in your chest and shoulder. And as you breathe out, let your back go, tuck your elbows, sit on up. Knees pointing directly towards the ceiling. Keep your legs still as you slowly release your upper body. Use an image. So if you're on the farm, you might imagine you're lowering a potty calf. That image of a grand piano that you're slowly lowering down to touch down. Maybe something you've preciously baked and you've got to slowly put it down on the bench. And then touch your heel to the floor close to your pelvis. And start to slide your leg towards straight, keeping your back really relaxed. So our brain loves images. So if you can find an image that works for you, your brain goes, oh, okay, I know how to release those muscles like that. And then frog leg the leg back up and pick up the leg in the frog leg shape. So again, your knee has to be happy. So it's your thigh that's rolling out. So find a position that makes your knee really comfortable. And then take your hands and interlace them. Inhale, little arch. Exhale, let your back go. Tuck your elbows, sit on up. Slow motion, release your upper body. When your head touches down, bring your arms down. You touch the leg in the same shape, so the foot's down near your pelvis. And you're on the outer blade of the foot and you slide that leg towards long. Keeping your back as relaxed as you can. You might need to go slow, particularly if there's tightness in the hip. And then just let everything relax and the leg will roll to a comfortable position. And then slide the leg back up With the foot on the floor, roll to the inner blade of the foot so the knee is touching the other leg somewhere. Take your hands behind your head. Remember, your elbows don't have to be wide. Start where it's comfortable. Inhale, arch, and press the elbows back if it's comfortable, and shoulders. Then let your back go. Tuck your elbows in as close as you can. Sit on up and lift the foot. So now your knee is rolled in, or your thigh is rolled in, and you're sort of looking towards the outer ankle bone. And now super, super slow, release the upper body. Go slow. Imagine you're lowering something precious to the floor. Arms come down. Touch down on the inner blade of the foot and slide your legs along. And let everything switch off. And then bend that knee up and bring yourself back onto your mat if you went sideways. And notice your imprint. Notice the weight on the back of the shoulders. Notice, do you need something under your head? Often the more we do these movements, the less restriction there is in the front, the more likely you are to be able to lay flat on the floor. Notice the weight on the back of the ribs. And then take your hands up with your palms apart this time. So hands sit directly above your shoulders. And again, no tension in your neck. So if you need to take your hands a little lower so that you can relax your shoulders, do that. And again, think about your ribs like a barrel, a fine liquid, whatever you like. It could be kombucha to red wine or somewhere in between. And I want you to think about your ribs rolling like a barrel. So if you roll your ribs to the left and then reach your right hand straight up to the ceiling by letting go between your shoulder blades. And then slowly let the ribs roll back like the barrel's coming back to level. And do that to the right. So you roll the ribs to the right and you reach up with the left hand. And just go slowly. See if you can roll your ribs. And if you just watch what happens, because sometimes you end up taking your hands over to the side. So rather than taking your hand to the side, you let go between your shoulder blades and you reach straight up to the ceiling and then let your ribs come back to neutral. Remember, if there's any tension in your neck, you might have that towel, a small towel or a cushion underneath the base of your skull. So adjust if you need to. And start to just roll your ribs. And once you get a sense of what we're doing, you can just let it flow. Another image that might help you is you imagine there's a sling that goes beyond the middle finger of your left hand, goes down your left arm, under your shoulder blades, and all the way past the middle finger of the right hand. And it's like someone's pulling you up with the sling on the left, rolling your ribs right, and then pulling you up on the right, rolling your ribs left. And then come back to center. And roll yourself over now onto your left side. And you'll need something initially underneath your head. So that could be the towel, it might even need to be a cushion. Or not. So I don't generally use something under my head at home, but I just want to remind you that you can have something there if you need it. And then place your hands together. We'll come into this arm slide that we did in the first week of class. And it's such a good way of opening up and reducing any stiffness in your mid-back. So you roll your ribs towards the floor and you slide that right arm past your bottom hand. And then you slowly roll your ribs like a barrel and you drag the right arm across your body. And you don't even need to straighten the arm behind you. You can just keep your hand on your chest, or if it feels comfortable in your chest and shoulder, you straighten the arm. Then you bend the elbow and you roll your ribs back to the floor and slide your hand and make sure you go past the bottom hand. So you're sliding all the way past the bottom hand. And then keep going a few more times. One of the best twists you can do. Oops, caught with my mic. Take this off so it's easier for you to see. And the next time you bring your hands together, pause there on your side. And today I want to show you a move called propeller. And it's often a move I will just show you when we get to do this live, but I'm conscious that we're already up to week 5. It's one of my favourite twists. You might even like to sit up for a moment so that you can see me do this visually before you have a crack. So in propeller, you bend up your bottom knee and you straighten your top leg. And so I'm thinking about my right arm and my right leg being the blades of the propeller. And so I'm going to turn my chest towards the floor and reach my arm forward. And this is my starting position, leg long in line with the spine, arm forward, turning the chest like you just were. And then you slowly bring your leg forward, and the first version will be to take the arm across your body. And then you roll your ribs back to the floor and you turn your chest, and as your arm comes forward, just like in arm slide, you take your leg back. And notice that I'm not arching my back. So there's a tendency often when people try and do that. You don't want to arch your back, but rather reach further forward. And then the other option I'll show you is just to take your arm across your head, which is deeper for the shoulder and chest. So you can pick either option, and let me talk you through it. So come back down onto your side if you haven't already, and you're on your left side. So let's imagine that we're lying in a clock. Bend up the bottom knee and straighten the top leg, and the top leg would be lining up with 6 on the clock, and your head would be in line with 12 on the clock. And now if you turn your chest to the floor, just like you were in the arm sling, and rather than keeping your hands together, slide that hand a little higher. So on the clock, that might be reaching towards 1 or 2. And depending on your shoulder, you might even need to be at 230. So just play with where's comfortable. And notice that the more you turn your chest to the floor, the further you can reach with your arm. And now imagine the motor of the propeller is in the center of the fan, and start to draw your arm across your body as you bring your leg forward. Now you can have your leg straight, but sometimes that's a bit strong, so you could bend the knee. And then you turn your chest back to the floor, and as you turn your chest, the motor's in the center, and it drives the leg back towards 6 or maybe 6:30 on the clock, and the arm comes forward. If that feels really comfortable for you, the next option would be to roll your arm across your head. And as you roll your arm across your head, your arm might end up back at 11, and your leg might be pointing towards 3. Knee can be bent or straight. And then just have a go. Basically, your arm and leg move in the opposite direction. And if you can, you're trying to drive it from the middle of your body, like the fan drives the blades, or the motor drives the propeller. And the propellers move in opposite directions. And then gently come back to your side and push down through your elbow hand and come on up. And let's do a little bit of side plank. So in your side plank, maybe your knees are together, your elbow is slightly forward of your shoulder, and you lift on up, taking your hand up towards the ceiling, right hand, and then you imagine you're putting your arm in a sling. You roll your ribs towards the floor, just like we've been doing, and touch your hand down to wherever. And then you might stay up and just keep doing that. Or remember, you can lower and you might go, well, that's enough. One's enough today. Or you might come up again, put your arm in the sling, roll your ribs, touch down. Take your time. Listen to your body, depending how your fatigue is today. And then when you feel like that's enough for you, pause on your side. So keep going if you wish to keep going. So remember, you always have a choice. And the reason I want you to do it on your knees, those who often do this in plank, is I'm trying to focus the strengthening into your waist and your rib muscles today. So when you feel like that's enough for you, you're going to lie onto your other side. And we might reverse the order and do the plank first, do the hard bit first. So come onto your elbow, Have your knees and feet together, heels line up with your sit bones, elbow is slightly forward of your shoulder in relation to the top edge of your mat, so that when I lift up, my shoulder and my elbow are in line. I don't ever want the shoulder beyond the elbow. Take the hand up, bend the elbow, put your arm in a sling and touch down. And you choose, you might do a couple and then pause and rest, come back up, or you might stay up the whole time. Just notice what your energy feels like today. And when you feel that's enough for you, you'll come down onto your side and start with the arm sling. So please keep going with the side planks if that's what you'd like to do. Or if you're ready to go into the arm slide, come into the arm slide. Really listening to what you need. It's one of the gifts of doing yoga online is that there's no pressure to do what everybody else is doing. So you can keep going. If you want to keep doing side planks, please do. And then when you're ready, you're coming into this arm slide where you're imagining, you're imagining that your ribs are rolling and dragging your arm. It's like you're putting moisturizer on your skin or sunscreen. And remember to turn your chest to the floor a little more so you can slide your hand past your bottom hand. Now, if you found the propeller too deep or too confusing, you could just stay with this as well. And we will practice it the next few weeks. But if you'd like to come into propeller, you bend the bottom knee up. So you want a right angle at your hip and your knee. And then you straighten your top leg. And imagine that we're in a clock. And so now 12, still at our heads. Our foot is pointing towards 6. And then you turn your chest. So it's like you're reaching now, rather than hands lining up at 9, you reach up towards 10 or 11 if your shoulder's happy. If it's not, go back to 9. And then let the motor be in the middle of your body. So your ribs roll back and your arm comes across your body as your leg comes forward, straight or bent. And then you turn your ribs back towards the floor and your arm comes forward as your leg goes back to 6 or maybe towards 5. Making sure there's no pressure in your back. Keep turning those ribs, that's the secret. And then off you go. And if you want to go deeper and your shoulder feels comfortable with it, you take your arm over your head. So your arm is sort of moving around the clock face from 11 to 12 to 1 to 2, maybe 2:30, maybe even 3, as your leg comes forward and then your leg goes back. Feel free to always have a visual of this one if you need it when you're first learning it. And then come back to your side and press down through your hands and come on up to sitting. So we've done lots of work there in that little warm-up sequence. So now you can grab your face washer. You've all frozen at home, so I'm just going to presume that you on my screen. I have 2 screens. One I have you, one I'm recording on. I'm going to presume you're still going. Grab your little face washer, that scroll, and place it back down onto your mat. And remember, if you like something under your head, put something back under your head. And lie down with it sort of around the level of your diaphragm. So remember, that's around the base of your ribs. Or another place is just to have it under your shoulder blades and lay yourself down. Now, I've purposely chosen a face washer because I want this to be really subtle. It's a great way to mobilise the joints of your mid-back. And then let's get into them a little more by bringing your hands up and give yourself a hug. So cross your arms across, and if you've got longish arms like I do, you might even be able to reach your shoulder blades and give them a hug and even massage along the shoulder blades, which are often a little tender there on the inside. And then you start to just gently rock or roll your barrel of your ribs from side to side. Now, if it's too intense, put a bit more weight on your feet so there's less pressure on the little face washer. But usually it's quite nice. And then start to wiggle yourself down a bit towards the bottom end of your mat. And the face washer will move up a little, and then do the same, rock, 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 And sometimes you'll find a real sweet spot, so wiggle again. So now you're sort of up between your shoulder blades. And then again. So you can do just one spot, or like me, I'm sort of moving up my spine. And I keep going until the face wash is sort of at the top of the shoulders, because then I can take it out. So have fun playing with that. And when you take it out, just notice which arm is on top with the hug. And then roll over onto your side, come up, put the face washer back down. And of course, as time goes on, you could use a fatter face washer or even a little hand towel. But it's really good to start this quite subtle with just something really quite thin, because it gets in, it doesn't need to be thick. And then you take your arms up and you cross them the other way. If you can, you reach your inner shoulder blade and off you go. Little wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. And you're literally just rolling. You need to make sure your head's comfortable in your neck, so you might feel like you need to pull your towel with you. So as you lift up through your pelvis and sort of wiggle yourself down the mat, again, make sure your knees are happy. So that's about those 4 calf ties, always pressing evenly into the mat. And then give a little roll from side to side. And then wiggle yourself down a bit more. And maybe a bit more. And then once the little face washer is sort of at the base of your neck, take it out. Feel free to have something under your head or not. And then let's come back to where we began, which was steeple pose. So you take your hands up, you interlace all your fingers except your index and your thumb. Temple mudra in yoga or steeple in somatics. Imagine there's a band around your elbows and roll your ribs like a barrel. And just notice now, how far can you go? Is it different? It's a really nice little sequence on the floor for your upper back today. And then come back to the center and just roll yourself over to one side and start to make your way all the way up into standing. So you might come through an easy squat and then find your first flat back. So feet are hip width apart, which is 2 fists between your big toes. Yeah, so bend your knees till you get your hands to the ground if you can. And then you can stay here and just sandwich your body with your belly on your thighs and hang. Or if that's too strong, remember you can put your elbows and hang. Now let your head go and have a little nod and a little shake of the head. Think about those 4 calf ties in your feet. And then go down, bending your knees and slowly roll up. Roll your shoulders as you get to the top. Nice. And then if you're using a chair for your salutes, just got all my props today, bring your chair to the top of the mat. And depending how your back is feeling, you could have the bottom end of the chair facing you, which will mean you'll go deeper. Or remember, you always have the option to not go quite as deep, and you can have the back of the chair facing you. Nice. And then stand a little way away from the chair. If you're not using a chair, of course, I'm going to give you both instructions today. So bring your hands to your heart. Surya Namaskar, salute to the rising and the setting of the sun. Take your hands skyward. And just notice as you reach up, how do your arms feel after that sequence on the floor? Look ahead or maybe look up. And then bring your palms together and roll down. You're going to find your flat back. So that could be elbows on the chair, hands on your shins, or fingertips on the floor. And then release into your forward bend. And if you release on the chair, maybe just let your head go and hang. Then find that flat back again on the chair or on the legs or floor, and step the right foot back. Now you can lower the knee, or if your knee prefers not, don't lower the knee, stay here. And then take your hands up or keep your hands on the chair. Release your hands all the way down to the floor. Step back to plank. So if you're doing to the chair, just come to the chair with your hands If you're in plank, stay there or lower the knees and hold. Remember, if it's better for you today to go gently, you can just come to a flat back on the chair. Those who are on the floor, we're going to lower now, so lower to the floor. And inhale onto your elbows into Sphinx. Lift your belly if you can. Press the tops of your feet down. Feel the front of the pelvis press down. Draw those elbows back and feel your breastbone move forward and your collarbones broaden. And then the next time you breathe out, lower. Inhale to your hands and knees or plank, child or down dog. So there's your Balasana, the child pose. Down dog can be hands grounded, hold the hands pressing into the mat, lifting your sit bones, knees bent, heels raised. If you're on the chair, remember that's where you step back and really work on getting your flat back. So hold and breathe wherever you are. If you're in down dog with your hands on the floor, look for a moment at your hands. Base of the thumb, base of the index, and little finger press evenly into the floor. Soften your elbows. Feel your shoulder blades wrap around your ribs so your head can let go. Have a little nod. If you're in a full down dog or child, lower the knees and rise up into the high kneel. If you're on the chair, just lift up your chest. And then step that right foot forward, knee down or knee lifted. Take your hands forward and up. And just notice the openness to your chest. Maybe take your arms a little wider here. And release either fingertips to the chair or to the floor. Retract. Come forward to your flat back. So that could be elbows on the chair, hands on the shins. And release into your forward bend. If you're on the chair, let your head go. And go down to come up. Bend your knees and slowly roll up, one vertebra at a time. Draw your arms around you. Palms touch above your head. Hands come to your heart. Nice work. So Vic, I'm hoping you're okay with your chair because everyone else is not using a chair, so that's why I'm giving you a bit more guidance without the chair today. Hopefully you've got it from the other weeks. So let's flow again. As you breathe in, draw your arms around you. Open your arms wide here and look up or look ahead. Feel the openness through the front of your chest. And then bring your palms together and roll through the center. Rest to the chair or come forward into your forward bend. Release. Even hold on to your elbows here and hang, making sure your knees are bent so you can sandwich your belly on your thighs. Then find your flat back, which could be fingertips on the floor, hands on the shins, like you're resting your favorite drink on your back. Step your left foot back. And today, plant the back heel. Heel down, Sky Warrior. And then come on up with your front knee bent. So front on, it looks like so. So you're planting that back heel. Make sure your hips face forward. So if you had headlights on the front of your pelvis, they're both facing forward. So sometimes you need to step your back foot back a little more and out to the side a little more. And then bend your knees slightly and make sure it's tracking over your toes. Then take your arms up. And you can stay here and just hold and breathe. Gentle abdominal breath. Or if there's tension in your arms, release your arms. And as you breathe in, take them back up. Maybe open through the chest a little more. And just gaze down and make sure that your knee is tracking over your middle two toes. And notice how my knee is stacked over my ankle. In other words, I don't want it too far forward. If it is, you caterpillar your foot a little further forward. And then the next time you breathe out, lay your belly down onto your thigh and let your back heel lift. And let's hold on to the elbows behind. So I'm literally resting my weight of my body onto my thigh. Back heel is lifted. Hold on to your elbows. Then release your fingertips to the floor. Step and hand palms down now. And step back to a plank. So that's a full plank or a knee down plank. Opportunity if you want to build upper body strength to maybe do 3, 4, 6 little push-ups, or lower to the floor. Listen to your body. And let's come into a cobra today. So please keep going with the push-ups if you wish. And with this cobra, we're going to slide the hands out in front to begin with, and then slide them back towards you as you come up into cobra. So glad wrap your glutes. Think about that visual you have of the glute muscles. Press the tops of the feet down, and then slide your hands forward. Let's do that again. So glad wrap your glutes, press the tops of the feet down, slide your hands back, coming up into a cobra. Good work. And then release. Please stay on the floor or do that one more time. Slide your hands back, squeezing your glutes, pressing the tops of the feet down. Nice work. And then release. Hands come underneath your chest. Inhale to your hands and knees or plank. Down dog or child. So if you're coming into Balasana, you might like to come into a side bend where you bring your belly over to the right and bring your arms to the right. And then you would come back to center and go to the left. Those who are in downward dog, remember you press the whole rim of your hand down and forward, soft elbows. Feel like you're drawing your hands and feet apart on the mat as your sit bones go to that junction of the ceiling and the wall. Let your head go. If you're in child pose, just keep going from side to side with that side bend. And then let's come up onto the balls of feet if you're in down dog. And take your hips and heels to one side as you press your hands forward. This is your side bend. Come back to center, hips and heels to the other side. You're pivoting. Come back to center. You can keep going from side to side. And when everyone's ready, you will meet in child pose, in pose of the child. Or, if that's not right for your knees, just hang at the back of your mat in your forward bend. And take 3 breaths in child pose, letting your back soften, letting your belly soften. And let your breath just settle. Let it come back to that natural, gentle breath. And then from here, let's roll up the back of the mat. So start to walk your hands back towards your feet. You're at the back of your mat, you're going to hang, go down, come up, and slowly roll up. And then step your right foot slightly forward, just 1 foot forward. And then step the left foot all the way forward. So it's quite good in yoga to practice stepping forward because you do a lot of stepping back. And so your back heel is grounded. If there's any pressure in your lower back, you come forward. Your front knee has to track over your middle 2 toes. So notice how it's stacked. So watch that it's not rolling in or out. 4 car ties will help you there. And if there's any pressure in your back, you just stay here, leaning forward, pressing the heel down, and don't even lift the hands. If it's okay to lift the chest, lift the chest. And if your energy's up to it, you bring your arms skyward. This is called Sky Warrior, Virabhadrasana 1. It's one of my favorite warrior poses because the theory of this pose is you stay really grounded into the earth. So imagine you send your breath through your legs into the earth. And yet your upper body is relaxed, you're open and vulnerable, ready to face whatever comes your way. And so feel free to lower your arms and then bring them back up. I often feel like when I lower my arms, I'm letting go of anything I don't need to hold anymore. You know how we often carry a lot of stuff for other people? I'll let that go. Keep squeezing both glutes, glad wrapping them to your sacrum. One more time. And then you'll lift your back heel and let your belly come onto your front thigh. You can hold on to your elbows Or you can interlace your hands like we do in Circle of Joy and squeeze your knuckles towards the wall behind you. Back heel's lifted. Front knee is still tracking over your middle two toes. Then release your fingertips. Retract. Come forward, flat back. So remember that could be elbows on your thighs, hands on shins, fingertips on floor. Release, forward bend. Let there be no tension in your neck. So you can still release with your elbows on your thighs if you need to here. And then go down to come up. So tuck your tail and slowly roll up, drawing your arms around you, bringing your hands to your heart space. And stand for a moment, feeling the effects of our two salutes with a sky warrior today. And then we're going to come into Virabhadrasana 3, which is a balancing pose. So there's 3 warriors in yoga, and last week we did Earth Warrior on the chair. So Sky Warrior is a really lovely standing balance pose, and I've lost you again. We've got internet problems in here today. So I might just go and see if I can get your screen back up, but I'm presuming you can still see me. So I'm going to give you an option of using a chair or without. So if you're using a chair, you might like to have the back of the chair facing you, so feel free to move around to it. And you're going to put your weight onto your left foot first. Glad wrap your glute. And then you tip yourself forward, and you can either lean your elbows on that chair as you try and lift your back leg up. Now notice that my hip, knee and toes are facing the floor. So in other words, you're not rolling the leg out. Hip, knee and toes face the floor. You could stay there. You could have your hands at your heart, or you can take your legs out, your arms even into a T. And notice that you've got those 4 car tires grounded on the standing leg. Choose the option that's right for you here. And have a little bend in this standing leg so your knee is comfortable. Great strengthening for your standing leg. Keep breathing. And when you need to come out of it, bring the right foot forward and stand. And then we're going to go the other way. So I'm just moving so you can see. So you're standing now onto the right leg. Glad wrap that glute. Really wake it up. 4 car ties, soft knee. Tip forward, either bringing your elbows to the back of the chair, and you're trying to find a straight back. So often it's hard to get this back leg up, so you might start by pulsing, taking it to the floor, bringing it back up. Feel the knee, that's easier. If you can, you press out through your heel, roll the hip down, hands at the heart. Stay here or arms out into a T. Keep balancing. Watch that you're still breathing. And when you need to lower the foot, you might even practice. This is a great one to practice coming in and out of. So you might come out of it, you might even put your forehead on the chair and then come up. And then if you want to build strength and balance, come back down and release several times. And then when you're ready, stand and ground. And then let's come into tree pose. So remember, if you need the chair, have the chair beside you. You're going to stand on the leg that's closest to your chair. Glad wrap that glute. Bring the leg up and let's practice rolling the thigh out. So roll the thigh out and then either just put the heel above the ankle, below the knee, above the knee, or all the way up into your groin. They're all just versions. Once you find where your foot needs to be, press your foot and your leg into one another like you press your hands into one another. If you're using the chair or the wall, just keep one hand at the heart space. Stay here. Or open your branches and be any shaped tree you wish. Soft, gentle breath. Come out of it, gracefully as you went into it. And then we'll swap sides. So if you're using your chair, just swap your chair over. If you're not using the chair, ground through the other leg. Glad wrap that glute, soft knee, 4 calf highs, send your roots deep into the earth. Then lift the leg high, roll it out to the thigh side. Either bring the heel just above the ankle, below the knee, above the knee, or all the way up into your groin. And it doesn't matter where your foot is, it can be on the floor. But once you bring contact, press your palms together. Notice how they yield, both are pressing equally. And can you do the same with your legs? Stay here or open your branches wide. Soft, gentle breath. This is Rikshasana. Notice how you can soften your eyes and soften your skin. And then come out of it as gracefully as you went into it. And stand. And then slowly make your way down to the floor and lie on your back. I'm just going to see if I can get the other screen back up. And as you lie on your back, bring your knees into your chest and hug them in. And do whatever you need. You can rock side to side or back and forth. And then let's come into threading the needle. So remember, starting here, rocking. You can stay there. You might even like to do a little reverse abdominal. Always come back to whatever you need or have found thus far through this course is really helping your lower back. And then bring your left foot to the floor and roll the right thigh out and bring the outer blade of the right foot to the outside of that left thigh. So again, this is when you might need your tail underneath your head, particularly if you feel your chin's poking up to the ceiling. And then as you press your thigh away, you might already be at your edge. Stay there. Or lift the foot off the floor and take the hand through the hole, threading the needle. Or the other option is to take the right arm around the outside and cradle the knee into the elbow. If you feel like your head is tipping back, on your exhale, curl up. And just like we did earlier, imagine your head is a grand piano or a potty calf or a sleeping baby. And slowly lengthen your front, lay your head down. Do put a pillow underneath if you're still poking to the ceiling. And close your eyes down or soften them and breathe into that resistance. See if you can keep your breath flowing gently. Imagine you're sending your breath into that resistance, wherever you feel it. And almost feel like your breath is washing that resistance away. See if you can keep focus for 3 breaths. Sending your breath deeper and deeper into your body. And every time you breathe out, feel like you're washing away whatever that resistance might be. And then the next time you finish your exhale, release the left foot to the floor. Cross the right leg all the way over the left. And we're going to come into a flowing twist today. So bring your hands up and come back into that temple mudra. And you'll roll your ribs like a barrel to the left, keeping both elbows straight. Remember to keep that left elbow straight. And tip your pelvis over towards the right. You won't go as far with this twist as the next one. Come back to the middle. Separate your hands. Backs of hands are on the floor. And you roll your pelvis now towards the left. And you turn and look to the right. Come back to middle. Hands come into temple mudra. Roll your ribs like a barrel to the left. Pelvis to the right. So the top leg is like a weight. Taking your legs to the right and back to middle. Pelvis to the left. Turning to the right. Come back to center and do that one more. Really try, if you can, to keep those elbows straight and then bring the backs of the hands to the floor and you're turning to look to the right. And roll back to center. Uncross your legs. Square your hips up if you need to. And then pick up the left leg, bring it into your chest. Roll the leg out. Bring the outside of the left foot to the outside of that right thigh. Gently pressing the leg away. So there's only you and your body in the pose. So you're the only one who knows where your edge is. It's that place where you can feel the resistance and you can still breathe with your diaphragm gently and easefully. So if you're at your edge, stay where you are. If you need to go deeper, you lift the foot. You might interlace your hands behind your thigh. If you needed to go deeper, you would cradle that knee into your elbow and then interlace your hands. If your head tips back, remember to come on up and slowly release. Pillow underneath your head or towel if you need it. So one of the things you'll notice if you push your edge too far, particularly in this threading the needle, is your body will react and everything will just tighten up even more. So see if you can now find your perfect edge for the next 3 breaths. And sometimes the edge widens, and if it widens, you'll go a little deeper. Three more breaths. And when you finish the 3rd exhale, lower the right foot if it's been lifted up. Cross that left leg all the way over the right and take your hands up. So remember now there's like a brace around your elbows. And you roll your pelvis to the left and you roll your ribs to the right, resisting the temptation to bend this elbow, the right elbow. Come back to the middle, separate the hands, backs of the hands are on the floor. You roll your pelvis to the right and you turn and look to the left. Back to middle, roll the pelvis to the left, roll the ribs to the right, back to the middle, separate your hands, backs of hands are on the floor, rolling the pelvis to the right. And off you go. Keep flowing. Let your breath move you. So slow it down. Wait until you need to breathe out. Roll your pelvis to the right. Wait till you need to breathe in. Come back. Breathing out, pelvis goes left. Arms go right. Breathe into center. Pelvis rolls right. You turn to the left. And then come back to the middle and uncross your legs. And notice, is there anything else you would like before Shavasana? So we'll come into a Yoga Nidra again today. And so you might like to do an inversion first. If you really feel, no, I'm ready, I just want to get comfy and I'm cooked, as I say, if you're cooked and you're ready for the best part, the icing on the cake, then grab something underneath your knees and your blanket and lay down. If you'd like to go into an inversion, we've played a lot with this one because you have chairs at home where you put your legs up on the chair. So you might like to come here for the whole of Shavasana or just for a few moments. And if you've got a wall close by and you'd like to bring your legs up on the wall, I haven't, but I'll show you on the doors. You come and lie really close to the wall. And again, if you find you always like something underneath your head, you might bring your towel with you for under your head. But you lie down and you slide with your bum really close to the wall and you take your legs up the wall. And then soften your eyes. If you have an eye pillow, you can put your eye pillow on, or you might even put your face washer over your eyes. And let your breath settle. So wherever you've chosen to be, whether it's lying down ready for Shavasana, legs up on the chair or legs up the wall, let's do a few rounds of whole body alternate nostril breathing, where you feel, sense and imagine you're breathing in through the left nostril and breathing out through the right. As you breathe in through the right, you imagine you're breathing in through the whole right side of your body, from your foot and your hand. And then as you breathe out left, you feel like you're relaxing your whole left side, from your crown to your fingertips and your toes. And continue now on your own. And when you feel like that's enough time in inversion, then wait until you exhale through the left. And then take your legs down from the wall or the chair. Or if you're really comfortable in your chair, you could stay there for the practice of Yoga Nidra. Take a moment now to make sure you are completely comfortable. Lying on your back, on the floor, on your bed. Remember to have something underneath your knees to release your abdomen and your lower back. And see if you can lie with your spine straight and your hands off your body. Always remember to have something underneath your head if you need, a pillow or a towel. And start to take your awareness to any noises that you can hear outside of the room. Become aware of any noises outside of the room. And see if you can hear them as a vibration. Moving your awareness from vibration to vibration. Then letting go of this And bring your awareness to any noises within the room. And again, hear them as a vibration as you move your awareness from vibration to vibration. Letting go of this. Notice the sounds within the body, the heartbeat, the pulse. Letting go of this. And now it is time to make a resolve or a sankalpa. A resolve is something that you've forgotten about your true self. And you state it in a way that it already is. I am. Fill in the blank. And repeat it to yourself mentally 3 times, allowing it to permeate deeper and deeper into your being. Letting go of this. Now it is time to rotate your awareness around your physical body. As I mention the parts of the body, feel, sense, and release that which is named. Bring all of your awareness to your right hand thumb, index finger, middle finger, ring finger, little finger, palm of the hand, back of the hand, the right wrist, lower arm, elbow, upper arm, your right shoulder and armpit, the right side of the chest and waist, hip, thigh, knee and kneecap, shin, calf, ankle, heel, sole of the foot, top of the foot, your right big toe, second, third, fourth, fifth. Feel, sense and relax the whole of the right arm and the right leg. Bringing all of your awareness and relaxing the left thumb, index finger, middle finger, ring finger, little finger, the palm of the hand, back of the hand, wrist, lower arm, elbow, upper arm, the left shoulder and armpit, the left side of the chest and waist, left hip, thigh, knee and kneecap, shin, calf, ankle, heel, sole of the foot, top of the foot, your left big toe, second, third, fourth, fifth. Feel, sense and release the whole of the left leg and the left arm. Releasing the back of both heels, behind the knees, right buttock, left buttock, tailbone, organs of the pelvis, whole pelvis, right side of the lower back, left side of the lower back, all the organs of your abdomen, your diaphragm, ribs, lungs, breastbone, collarbones, shoulder blades, the space between the shoulder blades, upper back, front of the neck, sides of the neck, back of the neck, base of the skull, your whole spine, tip of tailbone to base of skull, scalp, skull, brain, right temple and ear, the left temple and ear, forehead, right eye and eyebrow, left eye and eyebrow, the space between the eyebrows, your whole nose, behind both eyes, the right cheek and jaw, left cheek and jaw, lips, tongue, teeth. Feel, sense and relax the whole body, whole body, whole body. Witness the body breathing. Resist any temptation to change the breath. Rather watch the body breathe. And as you watch the body breathe out, label the breath 17. Watch the body breathe in and label the exhale 16. Then continue to label the exhaling breath backwards towards 1. And if the mind wanders off and you lose count, Go back to 17 and begin again. Letting go of this. Keeping your awareness at the blank screen of the mind, behind your eyes, behind your forehead. Watch this space and witness these sensations. Witness the sensation of heaviness. Heaviness. Letting go of this. And witness a sensation of weightlessness, lightness. Letting go of this. Keeping your awareness at the blank screen of the mind. As I mention these images, feel, sense, imagine, maybe even see with the mind's eye that which is named. A flame of a burning candle. A burning candle flame. Rain falling on the tin roof. Rain on the tin roof. The sun rising over the horizon. Rising sun. Birds flying through a clear blue winter sky. Birds flying through a clear blue winter sky. The sun setting. The setting sun. And waves rolling into a deserted beach. Waves rolling into a deserted beach. The endless waves rolling into a deserted beach. Letting go of this. And now it is time to repeat your sankalpa, your resolve, exactly as you did at the beginning of this yoga nidra. With feeling and awareness, allow it to permeate deeper and deeper into your being. I am. Letting go of this. And start to notice the weight of the body on the floor in the room. Start to become aware of any noises within the room and outside of the room. And as you need to breathe in, lengthen that breath and imagine you draw it from the core of the earth. Bring it to your navel and let it spread into every single cell in your body. As you breathe out, bring the breath back from every cell to your navel and send it like an anchor or a root deep into the earth, grounding you into your body, into the earth, way down below you. Keep breathing in this manner and start to move your body however you need. You might begin gently by rubbing your fingers across your thumb and wiggling your toes. And then notice, do you need to bring your knees to your chest or stretch your arms over your head? And when you're ready, roll over onto one side and pause there, for the practice of Yoga Nidra is now complete. And gently take your time to come up into sitting. And ideally you're sitting so that you can lengthen your spine. So the easiest place is probably a chair, so that you can lengthen your spine. If you're comfortable cross-legged on the floor with the cushion underneath your pelvis, or sitting with a cushion underneath your pelvis and your legs out in front, knees bent, come there. And then when you need to breathe in, draw your arms around your body. Let your palms touch above your head. You might look up or look ahead. And then bring your hands to your heart space. And let's come into this practice of gratitude this afternoon. So you start with all your fingertips together, and then you just open the middle 3 fingers. It's like you've created a chalice or a cup, and you rest that at your heart space. And then either soften or close your eyes. And as you breathe in through your lengthened spine, mentally say to yourself, I am grateful for. And rather than thinking about what you're going to say, just create space and see what bubbles into the space. And as you exhale, fill whatever it is you're grateful for into your cup. Watch the thinking mind will start to create a list of all the things you're grateful for. See if you can be really present, and as you breathe in, focus on the in-breath, ask yourself, or say, I am grateful for, and then just pause and see what bubbles into the space. And as you exhale, send it into your chalice or your cup. One more time. I am grateful for. Sending it into the cup. And then closing the tips of the fingers, hands back at the heart space. For it is with great respect and infinite love for ourselves and all beings that we now conclude this practice. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Peace, peace, peace. I honor that place in you where love, light, and truth dwell. For when you rest in that place in you, and I rest in that place in me, we are one. Which is one of the definitions of Namaste. Namaste. Thank you. Ben is trying really, really hard. He's talking to somebody else about us being able to be live next week. So it's more the hospital regulations, and we're still under Victorian regulations. Hopefully we'll be here live next week. I wanted to say to you that next week, whether you're in here, so if we get to come in here, we have a whole lot of props for you. So we'll have the blocks here. But I really wanted to show you a great sequence. It's all about rehydrating your discs for your lower back. And so if you're at home, if you have a yoga block, that would be great. However, you don't absolutely need one. You could use a big fat Harry Potter book. I've had people use pieces of timber before, or even a brick rolled up in a bit of material. So just have a look at the sort of dimensions of it. Yeah. But hopefully if we're live, we'll have the props for you in here. But thank you, and we'll see you next week. So stay there, you guys at home. I'll just stop the recording. I'll just stop the recording so we can chat.